Well, this November is going to mark the 5th anniversary uh, of the passing of a great game show host of a legend, Alex Trebek. Well, before he hosted High Rollers or even Jeopardy and Classic Concentration, he hosted this show. This was actually his very first show, as a matter of fact. Well, as he hosted in America. But this is a very rare game show I'm going to talk about after I finally got to see one episode of it. So today on the wide world of game shows, it's the Wizard of Odds. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Doyle, the Big D to you, and this is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. And I'm back with another episode of the wide world of game shows. Today I'm going to be tackling a very underrated and rarely remembered game show from long ago. I gotta say, this was really something when I first encountered it. Now, I actually only got to hear its theme song because I have a CD that contained various game show themes, and this was one of them. It was the very first American game show to be hosted by Canadian Alex Trebek. And this is a real fun game that really could have kept going. It was really a real challenge of a game. So now, without further ado, let me bring to you The Wizard of Odds. The Wizard of Odds. This was a fun-filled game show hosted by the late great Alex Trebek in one of his first American game shows. The game originally premiered on NBC in the summer of 1973 and was produced by Bud Sugarman Productions. Now then, The Wizard of Odds, well, was a game in which people from the studio audience vied in a number of rounds. Primarily games revolving around statistical questions. The pilot episode had John Harlan, who was the announcer, and of course, Alex Trebek was the host. He hosted the series through its whole run. LA radio personality Sam Riddle was the show's first announcer when it was picked up, and towards the end of the run, Charlie O'Donnell, in one of his first few game show announcing roles, may he rest in peace, long before he even started announcing for Wheel of Fortune or even The Joker's Wild, Tic Tac Toe, and other game shows, was Riddle's replacement. The title was a parody of the classic 1939 film The Wizard of Oz and was the first American game show the Canadian known as Alex Trebek hosted. The show was created by Alan Thicke, who of course later went on to be on TV's Growing Pains. Thicke was also co-producer of the show and also co-composer for the theme to the series with Stan Work. Of course, Thicke would later go on to do music for others, including the original Wheel of Fortune, as well for one of Wheel of Fortune popular themes, actually, as well as music for The Facts of Life and many others. Though relatively short-lived, the show replaced Tale of the Century when it aired on NBC, premiering July 17th, 1973 at 11 a.m. Eastern, which was 10 o'clock Central. But it didn't perform well against CBS's Gambit, which was later replaced by Now You See It, and NBC dropped it after less than a year. The show ended on June 28, 1974. The series was Trebek's first American game show after starting his broadcast career in his native Canada. Of course, he later hosted 4 more shows on NBC, which were High Rollers, which I previously did, And then it's New High Rollers in 78. Of course, High Rollers premiered just right after the cancellation of The Wizard of Oz. Then in 1981, he hosted Battle Stars, and then again as the new Battle Stars in 83, and then later hosted Classic Concentration from 87 to 91, and his fourth one was a brief revival on To Tell the Truth after Gordon Elliott and Lynn Swan. Now, and here's the rules for the game. Contestants were selected from the studio audience and answered questions based on statistical information, all for cash and prizes. The wizard, that's Trebek, began the show by choosing three contestants and asking them questions based on the law of averages, with cash and prizes awarded accordingly for correct answers. An example of a question was, what are the odds a man will recover his wallet, lost wallet that is, if there is more than $20 inside it? The next three players were given a series of phrases and told to pick the one that did not match. The person with the most correct answers was given the chance to pick one of five prizes located behind windows that were either open or locked. This person could continue to play or stop at any time, keeping the prizes. However, selecting a window that was locked lost all prizes accumulated up to that point. Every contestant selected had his or her name added to the Wizard's Wheel of Fortune. Yes, this came out just before Wheel premiered 2 years later. Now, of course, the Wizard's Wheel of Fortune was done at the end of the show. Trebek spun the wheel, and the person it landed on was eligible for bonus gifts. A list of averages was then brought out with a number above it. The contestant had to pick a group of items whose average added up to exactly the target number. If the contestant was correct, he or she won the bonus gifts, including a brand new car. Now, of course, the theme song, as I mentioned, was composed by Alan Thicke, and actually was sung by him too, as a matter of fact. However, there was a little bit of a lawsuit that happened. Nearly a week after the show made its debut, Leo Guild, who has created numerous radio and television shows, books, and newspaper columns, filed a $2 million lawsuit against NBC for stealing his Wizard title, which had been used as a newspaper column during the late 1940s. Now, of course, for an episode says, it is believed that the series was wiped per network policy of the era, with NBC continuing this policy until '79, and the May 20th, 1974 episode with special guest actor Don DeFore exists in the UCLA Film and Television Archive. An audio recording of the finale also exists. One surviving episode, labeled as airing on March 19th, 1974, was uploaded to YouTube back in 2022. Yes, and that episode is available. So there is one episode available on YouTube. There are maybe a little bit of bits and clips of the show, but there's only one full episode, and it does include commercials and what have you. So you've got a good chance to see this. And I do want to thank my good friend James Moss for finding this for me. I thank you again in advance. But anyway, even after that, The Wizard of Oz has never been seen again. It has never been re aired or anything, not even on Buzzer or Game Show Network. And this show was, well, produced by Bud Sugarman Productions. Now, of course, Sugarman later went on to do some other things and what have you. Now, of course, after The Wizard of Oz was canceled, he later went on to work on some other game shows, including Celebrity Sweepstakes, as well as was the short-lived which he co-produced with Jay Wolpert Productions, previously a Bud Austin production. And then later on was a producer for the 80s version of the Newlywed Game, in the late 80s, that is. So now you know about the Wizard of Oz. I would like to say that this show, after seeing it, I will say it's a really, really good show. Even though, considering I only found one episode, wait a minute, take that back. Buzzer did air one episode of Wizard of Oz. It looks like, yeah, I think they showed it. I'm gonna try to get a better look. Yeah, I think they showed it on one of their programs. As a matter of fact, I don't think they've aired the show, but it seems they did air it on little something they did called Game Changer. So they showed a little bit of that. So, but it would be fun if Buzzer or what have you could actually find footage of this. But I'd say it's very unlikely and what have you, though. Now then, I'll give you a little bit of a better look at the set. Here's a look at the set and what have you with Trebek right there in the center with where the logo is. And here's a shot of Trebek at the Wizard's Wheel of Fortune. But as I said, there is a full episode currently on YouTube, so look it up. If you are interested in seeing the late great Alex Trebek's first pre-Jeopardy game show, then I think this is the one you might want to check. If you've seen some of the stuff he did after this, such as High Rollers or Double Dare, then I think you might want to look into this one. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Wide World of Game Shows. Have you ever seen The Wizard of Oz? If so, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel, give them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation and share my vids with your friends if you'd like. Please stand by. Okay, now, join me next time when I bring to you a review of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And stay tuned, we'll have another Wide World of Game Shows episode coming up 1 week from this Wednesday, and I'll be talking about The Hollywood Connection, another underrated game show. So if you like this, check out the Wide World of Game Shows episodes I have done on several other Alex Trebek games. In the upper left-hand corner is the episode I did on Jeopardy! The upper right-hand corner is the episode I did on Double Dare from CBS in 1976. Or you can go to the bottom left-hand corner and see the previous Wide World of Game Shows episode where I talked about High Rollers. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the Wide World of Game Shows, then I'm your guy. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.